And welcome back. We are doing our new show. This was WTNB Today with our new setup with Josh and Jay in the studio. And we have Josiah Basharis with us now from CASA of Bradley and Polk counties. And Brittany Durkin just left, so we were excited to interview her. And Josiah, welcome. And you're here to talk about your walk.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Wendy. I like the new setup. I think it looks good in here.
I know, thanks. It's interesting having Josh and Jay in here, though.
Yeah, she loves it.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah.
It's more intimidating, though. I'm so intimidated by them.
No, I think you're in your element. You're going to be just fine.
Just talking, that's all I like to do.
There we go.
Josiah, tell us, the audience, just a little bit about CASA. You've been on the show, you're a regular on the show. We love having you here, but I want to make sure that they're aware and know exactly what you guys do, because it's a great thing for our community.
Sure, yeah. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates, and we work for kids in abuse and neglect situations in our court systems in Bradley and Polk counties. Our mission is to work tirelessly until every child shares in the safe embrace of a loving family. So what our volunteer advocates do is they get to know each child that they're assigned to. They get to have really in-depth knowledge of the situation. And then they come back and they make a written report. It's based on facts to the judge so that he or she has the information necessary to make sure that that child is safe and in a permanent home.
And you guys have served how many kids so far?
Over 150 this year.
Yes.
Over 150 this year already. So our advocates have been very busy.
Yes, and it's astounding that there's that many children who need an advocate in their lives.
Well, yeah, you're right. It is. It's not a very excellent statistic to sit there and ponder over that we have over 1,200 children just in Bradley County who were involved in the court systems primarily as a result of abuse or neglect, and that was in 2014. And in Polk County, we have another more than 180 children who were involved in the court systems primarily as a result of abuse or neglect. This is a problem that spans socioeconomic factors. It's all over different communities. It's not something that we'd love to sit here and talk about, think about, but it is something that demands a thoughtful response.
Absolutely. Well, and it's these kids need help, and you guys are here to step in and fill that for them, and we're just glad to get the message out and make people aware of what you do. And that being said, you guys are having an advocacy walk coming up October 20th.
Yes, advocacy walk in honor of Melisha Gibson. This walk is an opportunity not just to raise funds to go back to the vital mission that we were just talking about, but also to spread awareness and to drive action-oriented solutions. We want people to know that no matter what your skill set is, no matter what your checkbook looks like, there is a way that you can help these kids, or these vulnerable kids, these kids who are in need of a voice in Bradley and Polk counties and in our local communities.
Well, you've got great sponsors for the walk,
yes.
And all you're asking is for people to come out and register.
Yes.
And there are different levels of registration, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I do want to thank St. Luke's Episcopal Church, who's the presenting sponsor here, First Baptist Church, and OmniSource Staffing, among many other organizations, have helped make it so that every single registration goes directly back into the mission. And you can actually register at $10, $20, or $42. The $42 is significant because that's the amount that it costs for us to advocate for a child for 1 month. So CASA is a really vital mission. It's also very cost effective. We actually can provide a year of CASA advocacy for less than the cost of 1 month of foster care.
Wow. Well, like I said, it's a great cause, and we want people to come out and support the walk. And so with the $42, you get a T-shirt.
You do get a free T-shirt with that, yes.
And how long is the walk?
The walk is going to start at 6 o'clock. That's when registration opens.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to have our program start at around 6:45. And the walk itself will last between 45 minutes and an hour. And then we'll have some programs after for those who care to stay and learn more about the mission. But after that, all the moms with kiddos and everybody who need to get home on a school night will be able to get on out at a decent hour right around 8 o'clock. So
Right. Well, and you were very thoughtful about this walk being on a Thursday as opposed to
We don't want to compete with
Saturday
football in the fall. No.
Right.
Yeah. Don't want to compete with football in the fall. Not on a Friday night or a Saturday.
There you go. I'm not sure who Tennessee's playing that Saturday, but
It's the Saturday after Alabama, correct? So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't either.
Ooh.
They might need a week off.
Josh, do you remember Melisha Gibson and that story at all?
I don't. You want to refresh me?
It was from the 70s, and I'll let Josiah touch on it just a little bit, but it was a tragedy, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is because this walk is in honor of her. And the walk began in 2012 to help raise awareness and start support and for CASA.
Yeah, Melisha's story is really just the epitome of tragedy. You had a myriad of factors that affected the outcome, a lot of which had to do with limited resources in the child welfare sector. You had overburdened social workers who were a part of that. We had a limited number of agencies that were able to function just for the purpose of making sure that everything was all right. And the end result was the tragic death of a very young girl at the hands of her parents, of one of her parents. And what we want to do from that tragedy is not just to sit and sulk and think, oh, you know, poor pitiful us. It's an absolute tragedy for that family. You mourn the loss of that little girl. We mourn the loss of the 5 children that still to this day, every single day in our country, die from child abuse. But what we hope to do with this walk is honor the memory of Melisha and all the children who have lost their lives, who have had their lives affected by child abuse, by giving people an outlet to help, just like we talked about earlier. There's not one specific skill set that you have to have. There's not one specific socioeconomic bracket that you have to fit in to make a difference in the lives of the most vulnerable children in our community. Everyone can come out and help. Everyone can fit in. And whether you've got $10 to come out and help and take a walk to benefit our kids, or you want to take that extraordinary step of becoming an advocate, everyone has something that they can contribute. And what we want to do is take the tragedies that, quite frankly, happen every day in our country and figure out a way to keep them from happening again.
Right. Well, and you know, for it to happen in our community was so heartbreaking. And I was young at the time, but I remember the story.
Yeah, I think it really woke a lot of people up, not just here locally, but regionally, nationally, woke a lot of people up, said we have to devote more resources to this problem. And we're proud to be a piece of a puzzle here locally. We're proud that, you know, in meetings with families, parents, children, there are a ton of resources devoted in Bradley County to our kids who are vulnerable. The Department of Children's Services, the folks over at Bradley County Juvenile Court, we're a part of that system. A lot of other people come into that equation. But there can never be too many resources devoted to a child. And we've served, again, 150 so far this year. We hope to get to 200 served by the end of the year. You heard that there were 1,200 children in Bradley County in 2014 alone that were in the court system primarily as a result of abuse or neglect. Not every single one of them would be the right fit for a CASA worker, but it shows you that we still have room to grow, and we still need to step up to the plate for these kids even more.
Well, and if you want to be an advocate, what would someone do to contact you?
Well, they can give us a call. I know that they'll be putting all the information up at the end of the show, but 423-472-5800 is our phone number. They can go to our website, casabp.org. And what I do with every person that's interested in becoming an advocate is sit down and have a conversation with them beforehand, get to know a little bit more about them. Every advocate does complete a 30-hour training program that's nationally certified. So there are over 1,000 CASAs in the United States. A lot of people don't know that. It's a national organization. So that curriculum is not something that we just made up locally. It's nationally approved. They complete that. They complete a thorough background check before they ever take their first case. So it's it's quite the in-depth volunteer opportunity, but it's one of the most rewarding volunteer opportunities that I've ever encountered as well.
Absolutely. Well, Cleveland and Bradley County and Polk County, I'm sure, just is a generous giving community.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. That's how I feel. I guess
Yeah.
I'm born and raised here, but it just seems that way.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think, and I got a chance to work with Habitat for Humanity before I came here, so I saw that firsthand. It's what brought me to Cleveland. Come over to CASA and you see the incredible generosity of these volunteers.
Mhm.
But I mean, you go around and you look for partners in your walk, and you have folks again like St. Luke's that step up, like OmniSource, like First Baptist Church, and really so many others that have stepped up as well to make this event happen. I mean, we had a committed team of volunteers on our advocacy walk committee that really did all the legwork on this, making this happen, going out. These things don't just happen overnight. And a ministry like CASA doesn't just happen overnight either. It takes the work of those dedicated volunteers, our board members, our staff, and the collaboration with the rest of the people in the community. Like I said, we're a piece of a puzzle, and it really is a pleasure to work in Cleveland.
So
Yeah.
if someone got involved and they went through the process, what would it look like after they were
That's
certified?
a great question.
Or,
Yeah, no, that's a great question. What they would do is they would be sworn in by a judge. We're hoping to have a swearing-in ceremony at the walk. Just don't know if logistical factors will work with that. But recently we had 8 new advocates sworn in. Once they're sworn in, it depends on how many children we have in the program at the time, whether we can assign them a case at that time. There really is no typical thing that you can say. We want our advocates to be spending as much time with their children whom they're assigned to as possible. So I'd say it looks like between 5 and 10 hours a week. If you had to just throw kind of a base number on there with regard to time commitment, but we don't set a maximum number of visits for our advocates with their children. It's top priority that we get to know those kids and what's going on with them. Now, our advocates don't just talk to the children either. They talk to social workers, teachers, court personnel. They're getting mental health professionals' opinions on situations. We want to come back with the most thorough recommendations that we possibly can. Again, we're advocating for that child specifically.
Right.
So.
you also referred to foster care earlier. How is their relationship between CASA and the foster care
It's
system?
fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we think that foster parents really provide a safe haven for for a lot of children who are really in need. DCS does a great job with that locally, Bradley and Polk County. They actually will go out and place the children in foster care homes once they've deemed them appropriate. And our role is to kind of come in and then talk with the children, be with them through that process, because despite a great number, and they do need foster parents as well. I think it's really well documented that across the state, across the nation, we're in need of good foster parents. But no matter how well that situation progresses and how strong the fit is between foster parent and foster child, it's still tough on that child when they've gone through a change, when they've been moved to a different family situation. It's still tough. What we want to do, and the reason why it's so important that we continue to add advocates, is we want to put that one-on-one consistent adult presence in those children's lives. So short answer, it's a great relationship, has to be. We work alongside them. They do a lot of, DCS does the legwork of making sure that the foster care home is appropriate. The caseworker is going to check in on the child. We want to also be another consistent adult presence in that child's
Consistent,
life.
right?
Yes,
That's the word.
consistent,
Because with
absolutely.
foster care, a lot of times there's transition over and over.
Yeah, and you're right.
Does the CASA advocate stay with the child
Absolutely,
throughout?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. We're only going to close a case when we feel like there's permanency for that child.
Okay.
And again, you could ask, what's a typical case, timeline? There's no typical in this world. There really isn't. And what we tell that to every advocate, that be prepared to walk with your child through some very difficult circumstances. There is no typical, and our advocates are some of the most dedicated volunteers that you'll ever find. So, well-trained as well, well-trained. So, it's a really important ministry, but again, it's not we're out there on our own with these kids. We are a piece of the system, but it's a vital, vital piece, I think.
Sure. Well, and that's the message we want to get out,
Yeah.
to our viewers and the community.
Well, we're kind of a secret.
Yes,
I think we've
know.
talked about that
we
before.
have talked
Yeah,
about
like,
it. What
people
is
really
CASA?
don't. What the heck is CASA?
Yeah, it's like CASA.
Build houses.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really on a different track than what a lot of people think. But I feel like we're getting there. We're slowly making strides to where people really know and they acknowledge that we do have a lot of work to do in this community. We can pat ourselves on the back. It's okay to say thank you to all of our volunteers, all of our partners. We need to do that, but we can't get complacent.
Sure.
Now's not the time.
Yes. Well, and that's why we want people to know about the walk and come out and support it that way.
Yeah.
If you can't be an advocate or sign up for that, you can walk.
Absolutely.
And
October 20th, you can be there.
Yes, register. They can register online.
Yes, they can.
CASABP.org.
/advocacy walk. And they can also call our office if they need more information. They can sign up at the walk if they choose. We would really love for them to go ahead and register online ahead of time and get us a good head count so that we can properly plan for everyone there.
Exactly. So $42.
Yes.
Small price to pay to help a child.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you get a free T-shirt.
And you get a T-shirt, yes.
Not a bad deal.
That's right. Josiah, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Unless Josh wants to talk politics.
We'll answer your
Oh,
question.
no.
That's, South Carolina.
We're going to
That's
be
the weekend.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
South Carolina. Yeah.
South Carolina game, okay.
Yeah.
And that's a home game.
It is at South Carolina.
Oh, good. Whew.
There you go. Don't tell
Wendy's
anybody. I'll be
off
down
that
in
day.
Auburn. Yeah. Yeah. You're off that day? Yeah.
I'm off that day.
There you go. Well, good deal. You enjoy it. Everybody can come walk with us on Thursday and enjoy their Saturday afternoon of football.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Really
you so
appreciate it.
much. And we'll be right back.